that one thing I learned from Dileep Bhai is to not set any mission and vision. Because we started with 10,000 rupees capital, we are at 45,000 crores
I
today.
like the word which you use, the vulnerability. The
Yeah.
top leaders, they always talk about success stories. I was so
Mm.
successful in this, I was so successful. But do you really share your failure stories? Do you
Yeah.
really share that I was attending an interview and I got failure because I did not got selected because of this and this reason? So that's really important, that how vulnerable you are and you are talking to the people that I am just like you. And that's possibly, where people can feel that my manager, my boss, my leader is just like me. I can, he's so approachable to me. Today we have an amazing guest on Let's Talk Show, Ridhima Wali. She has been wonderful in terms of building the capabilities to various organizations and various industries. Hi Ridhima, thank you so much for joining here. How are you doing?
Hi Pankaj, I'm doing great and thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. There are two types of no's. One you know get when the idea is not that good. पहले देखा हुआ है यार इसमें नहीं करना है हमको. So you ask the client or ask people, okay, what is it that you don't like? And in this entire journey, you have to keep your ego under your soul, under the soul, the feet wala soul. You cannot have an ego driven approach here because if 10 people are telling you the same thing, that means you really need to improve. And the second no is you did your best and maybe it's not relevant to the client. Maybe the client feel your equity will not set with that person. The vibe will not work. They've done this before. So I don't feel bad when I have done my best and someone is saying no because I know the product is good. Today or tomorrow it's going to find its audience. But when it's a no because the products or offerings lack something, that for me makes me uncomfortable and pushes me to do more. And as serene as I may look like right now, that Pankaj rejection comes along the way, handling them is never easy. But I often ask myself, okay, you got rejected because we lost out a lot of mandates when we were 8 months old as a company because we don't feel we are not convinced about you. You're too young to be doing this. आई जस्ट फेल्ट ओके यार एक दिन ना इस पे आप बिता लो आपको बियर पीनी है बियर पी लो आपको टीवी देखना है रोना है रो लो बट एक दिन के बाद यू कांट मिस आउट ऑन योर प्रोडक्टिविटी फॉर दिस नो and a lot of those no's for me today have become the anecdotes which I'm sharing with you and I use them legit as my content and you need to have no's in your life rejections in your life otherwise life will be too predictable and it is the bedrock of rejections that creates the foundation for innovation. आप इनोवेट तब भी करते हो ना जब आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम लग रही है कुछ विकेट प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो वो रिजेक्शन से ही आता है सो आई ऑफन टेल रिजेक्शंस आर द रेड कार्पेट फॉर सक्सेस एंड आई रियली बिलीव इन इट इट्स रियली डिस्पैरेजिंग जब वो होता है बट उसके बाद आप देखो मजा आता है रिजेक्शन में बहुत मजा आता है
Lovely. I like this. Rejection is a red carpet for success.
या
Very nice. So I always used to tell that failure is the highway to success.
वही चीज है ये भी
Absolutely. Super. Very nice. One thing I really like, Ridhima, what you shared, that keep on innovating, keep on changing.
या
For even for the people, those who are the in-house trainers, in-house facilitators, in-house HRs,
एब्सोल्युटली
if you
जी
are going to conduct any session, and if you're starting with the same story what you repeated last time and
जी
the same example in the same language, you remember the example of three idiots when they said Viru Sestra Buddhi used to come and he was narrating the same thing, and then another boy who was I think the tea seller or something, he was working over there, he was keep on repeating the same word and the terminologies over there.
यस
Yeah, so
you
people
become too
should not.
predictable
Yeah, it's too predictable, and you don't have anything to offer. So that's why, the most important thing here, that how much you read, how many seminars you attend, how many people you talk, how many,
yeah
the learning sessions you go. So this is the most important thing for any facilitator or a trainer,
yeah
to keep innovating and keep learning. Very nice. Ridhima, now coming to the another important thing, what is changing in the leadership as per your experience of last 10 years? What it was and what it is today?
So, for me, considering I started my career officially in 2013 and before that 2011 when I was interning in different organizations as a part of my MBA. And what I've seen is there was a kind of leadership which was pre COVID. and there's a kind of leadership which is post COVID. But the attributes of good leadership still remain the same, Pankaj. They have evolved, the magnitude has increased or decreased, but the attributes have remained the same. Pre COVID, we took familiarity of being in the same space for granted. People used to travel, people used to meet. If they somebody was in Poland, if somebody was in India, they used to at least comes once in a quarter, once in 6 months. So we took the entire gift of meeting people for granted. We used to spend a lot of times in meetings which were unproductive. I think post COVID, the leaders that I witnessed, they have genuine appreciation for the fact that teams are coming in into offices. So the appreciation for team, Pankaj, I think has gone many folds, and especially for organizations that had to engage in a lot of cost cutting in the pre-COVID. Let's say your retail, your malls, because I work with a lot of mall owners also. So when they see their people, there's a genuine appreciation. So I think the regard for talent has improved in the post-COVID world, Pankaj. So that's number one. Number two, I'm seeing emerge a lot of emergence of tech companies. Let's say I said, right, I work with data center, I work with a ed tech, I worked with a ed tech called Upgrad. I'm working with med tech companies like Radiometer, Carestream. So most of their vertical heads and CEOs who are leading different businesses, they are young. They are early 40s, late 30s, and even if they're in late 40s, I think they have an appreciation for the fact that that carrot and stick approach, कि अगर वो अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा है उसको ज्यादा पैसे दे दो, जो नहीं अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा है उसको डेवलपमेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में रख लो. I think that shift is also happening. Leaders, when I'm conversing with them actively, they're often telling me, Ridhima, how do we engage with talent, whether they're performers or non-performers? Because I want to bring my non-performers to performing level or at least retain their current performance. I don't want to fire them because finding talent is a problem. So I think leadership is waking up to the fact that they cannot dictate the talent market through money. And you also have to appreciate the aspect that, and this is, I think, some organizations are waking up to it, some part of it are not waking up to it. Your 55% of workforce by 2025 in India is going to be Gen Zs and early millennials. तो जिनको हम बेटा और बच्चे आज बोल रहे हैं, वो कल बहुत important positions occupy करने वाले हैं. They could be your customers, they could be your bosses because they know coding very well. They could be founders. So, how do you engage with them? You can't engage with them, like I said, through money or by intimidating them. You need to engage with them by doing two things. One is by inspiring them that you're doing meaningful and purposeful work. And
Mhm.
B is by showing them vulnerability that I need you more than you need me. And I am also open to make some mistakes. So why don't we co-create a journey together? So वो जो superiority paradigm है ना पंकज, वो leaders, I think they're waking up to this fact, but they've not totally woken up. So अगर आप traditional setup में जाओगे, जैसे pharma companies जैसे हमने बात की, especially Indian pharma companies की मैं बात कहूंगी, not MNCs, उनको अभी भी वो जी हुजूरी चाहिए है, as crude as it may sound. But I think 3 years down the line, it will also change because जो आपकी MR है, जो आपकी product managers हैं, वो एक 22 साल का बच्चा ही है जो ये सोच रहा है कि ये कंपनी मुझे क्या देगी, मैं उसको क्या दूंगा, वो secondary है. So slowly this shift is happening. So as Stephen Covey has said in his book Trust and Inspire, from the typical command and control, we are moving to inspiring. And from a typical perform or perish, we are moving to engagement. So engaging talent has become a very important norm. The interesting fact is leaders who have been really able to bring impact on scale, scope, complexity. Like I have interacted with Mr. Radhakrishnan, who leads the BPO business at Infosys. If I look at him pre-COVID and post-COVID, I remember when in my previous organization, COSM, when we had got a mandate, he was very clear that the team has performed very well. I don't want to give any monetary benefit or take them outside for like a foreign offsite because they all are they earn well, they're at good designation, they travel. I want to do something to inspire them. So, can we have an authentic leadership kind of a workshop? So, that was his gift to his team for performing well. So, I think the leaders who are genuinely good leaders, their behaviors have remained the same pre or post COVID. So they know when to flex to engage the talent. But the biggest change and the biggest shift for me would be an appreciation for talent. I'm seeing that happen now. A lot of conversations are happening. How do we engage them? How do we inspire them? Can we do something about them? Some of them are at remote working. What we can do so that they feel the feeling of being belonged to. So yeah, and I think big MNCs are waking up to the fact that the rigid rules, the 9 to 5 working, or for the fact that you have to wear a certain clothes to be a part of this company, I think they are also loosening up all those rules and regulations. So I think by and large, the appreciation for talent as a big pivot is a shift I'm seeing, Pankaj.
Wonderful. So the appreciation of for talent engagement activity in the from HR side, the small this is the for certain points which I read from the book called The Millennial. The
Yes.
millennial says that to understand that the traits and the behaviors of the people, you need to really modify and bring the change in. They need instant gratification. They need
Hmm.
instant promotion. They need instant, what not everything. So how flexible the organization, when I mean the leaders, how flexible you are in terms of bringing all those changes and really implementing the way it is. I like the word which you use, the vulnerability. The
Yeah.
top leaders, they always talk about success stories. I was
Hmm.
so successful in this, I was so successful. But do you really share your failure stories? Do you
Yeah.
really share that I was attending an interview and I got failure because I did not got selected because of this and this reason?
Hmm.
So that's really important, that how vulnerable you are and you're talking to the people that I am just like you. And that's possibly, where people can feel that my manager, my boss, my leader is just like me. He's so approachable to me.
Yes, and it reminds me of an interesting thing. I was recently interviewing Mr. Kirti Ganurkar, founder and not founder, CEO at Sun Pharma. And he was telling me this entire story of how Dilip Singhvi, sir, the founder of Sun Pharma, had actually interviewed him in Baroda. And how
Mhm.
that entire interview was a technical interview. And Dilip, sir, had actually asked him a lot of mode of actions of some medicines and stuff like that. And today, from a EA role, he's become to a CEO. And one of the things he said about Dilip Singhvi sir is the constant empowerment. The constant empowerment which Mr. Sanghvi gave to Mr. Ganurkar. Just imagine being a EA to a CEO. Just imagine the kind of bets Mr. Sanghvi had to take on Mr. Ganurkar to lead India's largest pharma and world's fourth largest pharma. And when you sit with them, because I've interacted, I have observed the leaps up closely, I've interacted Kirti sir, the humility. So I think one thing that leadership needs to embrace is sheer humility. And this understanding that the power is not with you, the power is with the team. Whenever Dileep sir is acknowledging their sales field force as a part of their R&R, which happens in foreign countries, Pankaj, and this is so inspiring. I've heard him in Dubai, I've heard him in Bangkok multiple times, and you can figure out if somebody is saying for the sake of saying or they genuinely mean it.
Hmm.
This gentleman, whose net worth is more than $7 billion, runs a company which is at a profit every year, making revenue of $5.1 billion, is telling that, you know what, I want to thank each and every one of you for performing so well that you are giving me an opportunity to come to these countries. So I'm standing on this stage because of you guys. And he's not a very charismatic speaker that he's speaking on the top of his voice and inspiring, but you can figure out the way people are reading into his cues and the room is breaking into a thunderous round of applause. He means it. He's
Hmm.
grateful for his team. So I often tell people and I remind myself, at times क्या होता है ना, आपके लोगों को कभी ना कभी कुछ तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम आएगी, मे बी सैलरी रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है, काम रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है, रिवॉर्ड रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. उस टाइम पे दे मे टॉक टू यू इन अ सर्टेन वे which you may find offensive. But I often remind people that You hired these people because you saw some good in it. So why don't you listen to it in its entirety and then take a call? And when I hear about Dileep sir, one thing that everyone has said is that he's never the one who will fire someone because of performance issue. He's someone who often says, "What is it that we can do with this person better? Let's
Hmm.
retain this person because we are the ones who hired." And that way, if you talk to, and you must be aware of this, Pankaj, that majority of the people there, they're stuck by Sun Pharma. And I'm not only talking about the people who joined him in 1983. I'm talking about the young people also. And unanimously, because I've interacted with so many people there, they have
Hmm.
said, we are here because of Dileep Bhai. And we are here because the same culture gets trickled down from Kirti Ganurkar. So,
Hmm.
leadership at the top, we often say that culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's because of the same reason. They are able to win in the market because they have such strong talent. And we often talk about setting vision, setting mission. And Kirti sir said that one thing I learned from Dilip Bhai is to not set any mission and vision. Because we started with 10,000 rupees capital, we are at 45,000 crores today. We would have not thought that we would have become 45,000. So the
Hmm.
only thing we focus on is, can we become better than yesterday? And as a consultant who does a lot of strategy offsite to create mission, vision, values for organizations, it came as a complete surprise for me. Being better than yesterday.
Sure, this will going to be, very, very helpful for all our audience, and eagerly looking for next conversation with you very soon.
So thank you so much for your patience and considering me for this conversation. Really,
Yeah.
really a lot of fun interacting with you, Pankaj.
Thank you so much, Dima.